How's it going, everybody? So, I got my first video request. Got a request to make a walk around of my Indian Ftr rally. Now, unfortunately, I guess, I don't know, a lot of the shit I've done to this bike, you can't buy because there isn't a lot available for it. The crash bars down there, crash bar slash skid plate, it's all one piece. I made that part the radiator. The first time I had a good washout on the bike, the wind cowls on the radiator tore a hole right into the side of the thing. So I got rid of those, had the radiator patch, and I decided from then on, most important thing for me was getting a guard on that so it wouldn't happen again, because that sticks out pretty good ways. I mean, it's even on a street FTR, I suppose you lay that thing down on the street just right, it's going to tear a hole in that radiator. Second main thing that I wanted most on the bike was the pegs. And once again, I couldn't find anything I wanted. There were pegs available, they ranged around 150 to 200 bucks, but they still weren't right. I wanted something that was a drop peg, which I had a hard time, I couldn't find anything for it. The reason I wanted that was to make it more of an adventure bike and less of a sport bike. You got a pretty good knee tuck going on. When you're standing up, the gear shifter and brake angle were a little too steep. That was a happy accident when I made those pegs. I thought I would have to adjust the shifter to get it back to where I could use it, but it actually sat in an even better location for adventure riding, for standing up on the bike. I mean, obviously I did tires. It comes with Pirelli Scorpions from the factory, which they do all right, but I wanted something as aggressive as I could get. I got the Kendas for it, and they're pretty cheap. The rear tire is going to be a 1-season tire. The front tire, I suspect, will last 2 seasons. And let's see, what's the last thing I modified or did to the bike was the mirrors. Now, most people will get the ram mount double take mirrors, but those are too expensive for my blood. I went with just a pair of knockoffs off Amazon. They were 50 bucks for the set, and I've actually had the ram mounts before. These are just as good, just as functional, just as reliable. And in case you're curious, about $110 is where they're good till. $120, you're gonna find yourself getting a little more aerodynamic than you intended. And other than that, the bike is, it's still doing fantastic. The biggest hang up is the exhaust mounts keep coming loose. I think I actually melted one of the bushings in the exhaust mount this time, which got it to come loose, which leads into my second complaint for today. Is it's about 100 degrees out here, and I was doing some serious hill climbing, and this sucker actually overheated pretty good on me. It didn't boil over, but it started dieseling like crazy climbing the hills, which leads into the third complaint for today, is I need to gear this thing down. The overheating ain't bad. It's 100 degrees out, it was a hell of a hill. I let it sit for 15 minutes, it was fine, but I do need to get a smaller sprocket on the front of that thing, I think. Other than that, I couldn't be happier with this damn bike. It's insane. I dialed in, I was tearing it up. Man, this thing's phenomenal. I'm sure it won't compare to a GS or a KTM or anything like that, but I bet you it would take on a Pan America or any other scrambler. And the last couple of things, I cut off the brake lever and clutch lever, the end of them. That's mitigated all problems of busting those off on tip overs and whatnot. And as far as the tank straps goes, that's just bits of scrap lever. That can be done with just an old belt, probably, I don't know, a big one, 46 incher or something like that, but just an old leather belt.